So it's now 1:30, our session has started, so let's get this rig rolling. So hi everybody, welcome to the Dugongs and Seadragons podcast, live recording at AwesomeCon. Okay, yay! We're going to start by introducing ourselves. My name is Travis Nielsen, and I am the Dungeon Master for Season 2 of Dugongs and SeaDragons. I am also a marine biologist that studies lobster behavior and physiology, and I am now happy to say that I am a high school teacher, so I do that on the side. I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons for about 28 years now. I started when I was 12, and it's been a big part of my life, so I'm really happy to be able to turn this into something that is also a big part of other people's lives as well. And to my left, I will introduce them as we go along. We have Chris Parsons. Please introduce yourself, Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I usually play Lucian Dark, the Tiefling Warlock, and I'm a dolphin biologist, and I work for the US National Science Foundation, so come and visit us down at our booth downstairs. Also, I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons 41 years now. I had a very enlightened math teacher who realized that if he let us play D&D after we finished our sums, we do them faster and quicker and make sure they were right. And, I have to give a little bit of a plug. We have a competition that's going on through this episode that we've got a few gratuitous science callbacks, facts, and if you identify them, we have some giveaway dice here, kindly donated by Kraken Dice. Also, if you go to krakendice.com and put in the code word, Let's Get Kraken, you get a 15% discount on goodies. Another plug as well, if you go down to J10 in Artists Alley and tell them the Kraken sent you, the first people that get there every day will have a nice nautical, piratical themed free gift. And also they have a competition for a beautiful Kraken pouch as well that you'll be entered into. So that's J10 down in Artist Alley. And passing on to Francis.
Hi, I'm Frances Faribaugh. I am a PhD candidate, aquanaut and marine biologist studying the behavioral ecology of reef sharks. Aquanaut just is a fancy way of saying that I've done missions at Aquarius Reef Base, which is the world's only undersea laboratory where you can live and work underwater. I study sharks in my free time, finishing up my PhD this year. You may catch me occasionally on National Geographic Shark Fest, so you can see me there as well. But maybe more prominently at the moment on the internet, you can find me on Dugongs and SeaDragons. I have a recent convert to the D&D fandom. I actually found it through actual play shows like Critical Role and Dimension 20 because I was bored doing data entry and I needed some background noise, and I was like, wait, this D&D thing that people talk about, it's just Lord of the Rings meets improv? And that's how I found D&D and found this group of people, and it's so much fun to be able to share our science stories through games.
Hi, I'm Erin Anderson. I was a marine biology undergrad. Now I am a professional artist and illustrator, and as of today, a published science fiction author, Memoir of a Mad Scientist, available for pre-order, and physical and digital copies will be available in July.
Hello, my name is Remy, and I too am a marine biologist. My specialty is in international fisheries policy, aquaculture, and microplastics. So I do a lot of things with the effect of microplastics on bivalves, for example. And in my off time, I sell flowers. I got into D&D actually because down the table there, the first guy there is my neighbor, and we used to play together way back when I was one of his students. And now here I am. So good to see you guys here.
Hi, I'm Zeke Gonzalez. I'm a tabletop roleplay game designer as well as a graduate student. I'm working on my PhD in fish reproductive behavior. I used to study daddy long-leg reproductive morphology, so I've had like a broad spectrum of experience in sexual selection and natural selection, and bringing all of that to developing fantasy worlds and creating interesting monsters is sort of what I do, and so I'm really excited to join the crew again.
And also as a plug, you are the sort of head editor, writer of the Scientific Secrets series of Dungeons and Dragons books. So it's Scientific Secrets of Saltmarsh, Avernus, where you have monsters and then science facts linked to them.
And I don't know who did it, but the art in those books is gorgeous. It was me, I did it.
So as you may have noticed, we have a bit of a theme going on amongst our experts. Today we're going to be doing a bit of a narrative story style of play. You're going to hear me talk a lot, and there will be interactions from our crew as they go through the story. We will also have a guest appearance from one of our D&D junior session people a little later on, from Midshipman Finn. Wave your hands up there for us, Midshipman Finn. He'll be joining us on the stage a little later in the game. Just a quick one for all y'all. For those of you that don't know, the current series and season of Dugongs and Seadragons is set in Ravenloft. And so as a result, today's story will be horror themed. And so, because we're biologists, and because this is horror, there's going to be a lot of icky and squidgy and scary. So if you are the kind of person that has a weak disposition, I have given you fair warning. Okay. And just a quick one, like Chris said, a quick thing on the giveaway. There are going to be a series of Easter eggs in the story, either the names of scientists or perhaps the names of species of animals or other organisms. If you happen to know it during our session, please feel free to come up or to holler out or put your hand up, and we will, if you get it right or you tell us the right thing, you can get a free set of dice from Kraken Dice, the official sponsor of Dugongs and SeaDragons. Kraken Dice, let's get cracking. After our adventure, which should be about an hour and 15 minutes, the rest of our panel will be discussing just what we do, which is using science and interactive storytelling through D&D to actually teach people marine science and marine conservation. So you have any questions about how we do that or what it's all about, or questions about podcasting in general, we're more than happy to answer them to the best of our abilities. All right, shall we start this?
One more plug. If you guys are interested in following our podcast for a whole show, we do have recaps and quick little animated shorts done by our resident artist on our YouTube channel. So if you want to, after the session, if you're super into it, come follow us on the podcast. And then also you can check out those recap videos so you don't have to, you can jump into the story.
Perfect. Thank you, Francis. All right, so let's get this rig rolling. Alone, Lucian stands on board the ship Calypso, on watch for the one shift he has managed to not be able to delegate to another member of the crew. It is the witching hour, the full moon high in the sky acting as a dim light that makes the small breaking waves shimmer. The night is long, and the lull of the waves and gentle breeze is wrapping itself around Lucian like a warm blanket and fills him with the calm of chamomile tea. He sits, eats a lovely cheese sandwich toasty made with strong dwarven blue cheese and a spiced apricot compote. Lucian props himself into a pile of sacks on the deck and begins to do his watch and drifts off to sleep. Lucian, your dreams feel solid. You are on an adventure along the Sword Coast. You feel the wind in your hair and take a deep breath of the salt air. You've been given another award for lifetime achievement at the College of Illusion in the Ivory Lyceum. and you are out at sea for the celebration. Life is truly worth living. Suddenly, before you, appears a ship made of ebony black wood, and sails dyed as black as obsidian. Preparing for an inevitable fracas, you take out your spyglass to identify your opponent. You see a tiefling with a magnificent goatee, skin a deep royal purple, pomade-slicked hair, and a quinticorn hat, a full point better than your bespoke quadricorn hat, personally made by your haberdasher in Aranax. But something is different. This doppelganger has a cruel, sadistic look in his eye, and you can see the glint of fresh blood on his wicked smile. It is as if he sees you watching him through the spyglass. A flash, this sinister clone is directly in front of you. You are chained to a table, completely immobile. You try to strain against your bonds, but your efforts are fruitless. The sadistic fiend raises a scalpel, looks at you with terrifying delight, and says, "Well, this will not do at all. I cannot have myself running around with compassion and good-hearted feeling. I will simply have to remove it." Your mind races. How will he cut goodness from you? Surely that's impossible. Goodness is not something physical. It's an intangible complexity of the humanoid condition. Your mental ramblings are cut short by a scalpel. It's plunged into your chest, and then you have the realization that he didn't mean an abstract concept. He meant your literal heart. Well, at least it solved your metaphysical conundrum. The pain becomes overwhelming as you feel the fiend cut into your chest, and after what feels like an eternity, it stops. Numbness and apathy consume your mind. The fiend stares at you whilst holding your heart in one hand. Visions of your most joyous memories float around the heart. You remember all the details, but you feel nothing. The fiend looks back at you once more and says, "Oh, has poor little Lucy lost his heart? Well, don't worry. We can help you." The fiend takes a large beaker filled with a thick black ichor and drops your heart in it. Your heart slowly dissolves as you see the happy memories fade away like wisps of smoke from a dying fire. The fiend, looking impressed with his concoction, walks towards your head and tilts the table up so you are vertical. He takes a slender brass funnel, opens your mouth, and inserts it, driving the funnel deep into your esophagus. You feel yourself choking from lack of air when suddenly you hear from the fiend, "This medicine will mend you back to who you deserve to be." The fiend pours the horrific ichor down the funnel, and you feel the overwhelming pain once more, which turns into an unyielding hatred and a delight in the pain and suffering of others. Choking, burning, angry, everything fades into an obsidian abyss of hatred. Boom! You hear the calamitous bang of a signal mortar, followed by a crewman hollering out, "Man overboard!" Lucian, you awake in a cold sweat, your heart racing. You find in your hand the most recent edits of your novel. Despite your terror, it was just a vivid dream. As you look out at the deck, you see your bosun, Daniel Hardweather, ordering a rescue crew to man the jolly boats for rescue. Part of the crew has been roused. In addition to Daniel, you see Midshipman Finn running about trying to prepare the jolly boat. The ship's surgeon, Lunk, shuffling aboard the vessel, preparing his table to assist the wayward victim. Pepper and Salt dashing about, trying to be useful. And Darhana sitting in a corner, wondering why people are so annoyed with other people. What are y'all doing?
But I'm dashing about trying to help people.
Yeah.
Everybody is so shouty.
I'm fairly certain I can't swim.
I guess we should go get him?
Who fell overboard?
You're actually not sure. Someone spotted someone floating in the sea and shouted out for rescue.
As I just woke up, I assume that I'm wearing my silk nightshirt and my bright scarlet embroidered dressing gown.
Is that how
With a
you
hairnet.
is that how you prepare for a watch?
Well, you have to be comfortable.
Fair. I could see
Okay,
that.
So smoking jacket.
Okay,
Smoking
yeah.
jacket.
I could see that little paisley trim.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no way I'm getting that wet because it's silk.
Okay. Well, you did have a crew organized to go over on the boat. And one of your shipmates points out and says, "There, just there, can you see them?" And so let's everyone make a perception check and see if you can see what's going on.
Well, one of the signs of a good leader is delegation, so I'll get someone else to do it.
You got a 1, didn't you?
15.
Oh, look at that.
Pepper did terribly, but her keen-eyed steed, Salt, the giant otter, did much better. So that's a 15 from Salt.
Actually, should we describe ourselves?
Oh, we probably should.
Yeah.
So Lucian is a alabaster white-skinned tiefling with horns and a fabulous wardrobe.
Pepper is a puckish paladin. She's a little gnome with fun buns in her hair and her trusty giant otter steed, whom she rides and who helps her with all of her pranks.
Daharna looks like she drowned 3 weeks ago and is covered in kelp and fouling organisms, a huge amount of curly brown hair out of which crawl crabs occasionally. And she managed a 23 on perception, which is why you take druids with you.
Lunk is a flesh golem, and as you can tell, I definitely, even though I see the man, I think like a rock. So I'm going to delegate this task as well to possibly one of the people to my left.
Daniel is a rock gnome, very well outfitted, clearly threw on his uniform before running out, but his hair is all smeared up on one side and just sticking out in spikes. And I rolled 13, so.
Daharna would like to be done with all of this noise and shouting and running about and is just going to turn into a large beluga and dive into the water to just go get them and be done with this.
Awesome. Okay. So Daharna jumps over the side and morphs into a beluga whale. Not quite a baby beluga in the deep blue sea, and it's not swimming wild or free. It's on a mission. That's a bad callback to a kid's song from a long time ago. You have to be Canadian to get it, I'm pretty sure, so don't worry about it. I'm Canadian, by the way. It's like being vegan. We have to announce it as soon as we enter a room. Anyway, so all of you that have over a 15 or have dark vision, note that there is a figure of some sort floating out in the water on a piece of flotsam. Daharna, because you're going up close, and everyone that scored above a 15 notices that it seems to be a scraggly-looking human. So Daharna jumps over the side. She grasps the person in their mouth and moves back towards the boat. Upon bringing the poor soul back to the boat, the figure you saw in the sea is now on your vessel. He is dragged aboard and laid out on Lunk's table for assessment. The person appears to be a human male, middle-aged, with a balding head. They have heavily unkempt hair, with a long wave of crinkled hair coming from the sides of their head, and a scraggly beard that has been infested with skeleton shrimp, diatom algae, and a myriad of other biofouling planktonic organisms. From the looks of them, they have been adrift at sea for quite some time. They are gaunt and pale from starvation. and part of their left foot is gangrenous and rotting away from a flesh-eating disease. They are wearing a pair of tattered trousers and grasp tightly onto a tattered sack. Lunk quickly steps into action by performing surgery to amputate the necrotic flesh, then cleans, shaves, and washes the patient to remove any pathogenic organisms, and hooks the patient up to one of his many odd machines that they have invented for reanimating the dead or nearly dying, and begins to attempt a reanimation. The crew knows from previous experience that Lunk's reanimation process takes time. As Lunk waits stoically over his patient, or over their patient, for the process to complete, there is a patient to examine more thoroughly and things that you have found on them to search. What would you like to do?
Pepper's made just a lot of hot chocolate for everybody, and also lollies and sweets, and also she'll get some little kelp candies for the crabs because they deserve to eat too.
How you don't have diabetes, I don't know. Midshipman Thing, could you make
I'm a
something
gnome.
savory? Some grilled cheese sandwiches, maybe? Some scones. Oh, yes, scones. Jam, then cream, not the other way around. Thank you.
All this amputation is making me quite hungry.
If somebody grabs those shrimp out of his beard, then I could make some pizza.
Well, if no one else is going to, I guess I'm going to go through his pockets. Maybe there are crabs there.
Valid, yeah, definitely. Okay, so in this particular case, I would like a either medicine or investigate check from anyone that wants to search his things, their things, or the bag, or do a medical check on the person.
19 investigation in his stuff.
Okay. Anyone doing medicine on the victim?
I suppose that I will do medicine. However, I'm currently pimping down his carotid artery to keep him bleeding out. So if anyone would like to assist, hint.
I will happily help with whatever the doctor needs.
Surgeon, scalpel. Scissors.
Okay.
Pulse.
Salt comes, fetches you random things every time you shout for something. Just an otter's running up with different medical pieces of equipment.
Okay, anyone that did the medicine check, and Lunk as well, despite your amazing ability with surgery and reanimation, you cannot help but notice that there's an awful scar around the scalp of the poor patient. With a little bit of investigation, you didn't notice it before because it was underneath their hair. You realize that this was not your handiwork when you were doing the shaving because it is a scar and not a cut. And it's reminiscent of a lobotomy or a cranial surgery. It's so much bigger, though. No one would need a scar like that for an operation unless you were doing a full brain swap.
Quick cue. There a brain in there, though?
Pardon me?
Is there a brain in there?
Technically, we don't know because
it's sealed up.
It's sealed up. This is Schrodinger's brain, you see.
Okay, I see. I thought
It's
you
both
meant like,
there
oh,
and
you
not
notice
there.
now the top of his skull is gone, and I was like, oh.
No.
Oh.
No. It just looks like someone did that a long time ago. Okay. It appears to be relatively fresh, though. Someone must have done this recently.
So someone popped open his head and scooped out his brain?
Lunk, is that common practice?
My professional opinion is that no, that is not common practice.
I did find a wrapper in his pocket that might have been candy because I rolled a 2 on my investigation check.
It was definitely not candy.
Yeah, but you're covered in sweet wrappers. It could have come from, look, it's so sticky.
Lucian's probably got it right. It may have just come off your hand when you were searching.
No, I'm for sure found it in his pocket.
Okay.
I'm convinced with
Fair
my
enough.
2.
So, Daharna, in the personal effects and also pepper and salt, in the pants of the victim, you find a single coin heavily encrusted in coral and algae. In their bag, you find a compass with a lens where the needle should be, and a map tattooed on a piece of sealskin parchment that is tightly wrapped and tied off.
I would like to check out the sealskin map first.
Okay. So you unloose the map and lay it out flat. As you do so, Lunk, you begin to hear rumblings coming from your patient. The revivification process appears to be working. Suddenly, the eyes of your patient open as they gasp for breath. The gasp is shortly followed by a blood-curdling scream, and the patient snaps bolt upright, tries to jump off the table, falls because of his missing leg, and begins flailing around the deck, babbling incoherently, only to be interspersed with repeated yelling out, "Lost! Navigate! Find the way!"
It's alive!
I immediately run up with a slice of my newly shrimped pizza and try to calm this person down. It's okay, lad. We've got pizza for you right here. Don't look at your legs. Just eat this pizza.
He continues flailing as if possessed. You can't get anything out of him. He continually is just saying, "Lost, navigate, find the way, lost." And he just continues over and over and over again. It's like something's going wrong in his brain.
Can Salt sort of ease him down and just kind of like deep compression therapy with a giant otter, just to make sure he doesn't hurt himself?
So, like my cat at 5 in the morning, you're just going to walk on his chest, sit
Yes.
there,
Uh-huh. It's
and
very
hope for the
comforting.
best. You smack him in the nose a couple of times too, just to remind
Yeah, some
people
little-
that
some
you're
little
alive
otter
and want
nuzzles
food.
that are very shrimpy smelling.
Yeah, okay. All right, so a giant otter sits on this fellow's chest, and now he's restricted in his movement and flailing, but he doesn't seem to be wanting to do anything. Can I get a quick insight check from somebody, please?
I'm too traumatized by the shrimp pizza to do anything at the moment.
That's a 23.
Yeah, so he keeps talking about a map, or he keeps talking about being lost, and he showed up with a map. Perhaps returning his things might help you.
Oh, Daharna, could I see his stuff?
Yeah, check this out.
So he's got a map and a compass also, correct?
Yep, compass,
So
coin, and map.
So I sort of hold up the map and the compass. Hello, sir, sorry, just, Salt, could you put your head down? Thank you. Right, so I got your stuff. Do we need to go somewhere? You're quite safe at the moment, but maybe you won't be getting somewhere else?
He sees the things and greedily snatches them up.
Oh, okay.
After giving the patient their things back, they seem to calm down and stare deeply out to sea, almost in a catatonic state. After a few moments, you see him snap back into reality. They stare at the lot of you on deck and say, "Me name's Fred Aldrich. I thank ye for saving me from that watery fate. May I know the names of my rescuers?"
Oh, well, hello, I'm Pepper, and Salt is sort of sitting on you at the moment because you weren't, you were getting a little riled up. This is my friend, Daharna. She has her own kelp forest. And that's Lunk, the doctor. You should thank him because he brought you back to life with his machinery. And that's our lovely chef over there who was trying to offer you some shrimp pizza. And of course, Lucian, he's the fancy gentleman over there in the coat.
Hello.
He greedily grasps at the pizza, obviously he hasn't eaten in a very long time, and devours it.
It's ocean to table, super fresh, them shrimps.
I
Right
put
in
some
your beard, in
pineapple on it
fact.
just to really make it truly hideous.
The DM
level-
shakes his head.
What level of evil is your alignment?
Yes, chaotic pizza.
Oh dear. After he finishes eating, he says, "I thank you for that. But I have nothing of value to give you. But I do have this tale of warning. Deep in these waters lurks an anglerfish of tremendous proportions. Sailors call him Red Blenny. And
Is it
he be the reason ye found me out here. Red Blenny is a fish the size of an island who uses trickery to lure his victims to a watery fate.
Well, if the anglerfish is that big, wouldn't it be a female?
This is
Male
true.
anglerfish are just little sexual parasites, so really you should. It sounds like she's a she.
This is correct.
The sailor learned something today.
If we're not anything, we are a science podcast. I will change her gender. Red Blenny is a fish the size of an island and uses illusion to lure her victims to a watery fate.
That sounds
Has
like
a
female
mouth
anglerfish,
the
all right.
size of an elven war. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just said that does sound like a female anglerfish, all right? Yes.
Just so everyone's aware that you won't actually be participating in this other than the laugh track, but we're recording this for our podcast today, so you'll get to hear us later on again if you want to. Hang on. Now I've lost my spot.
Big mouth.
Yes, right. Red Blenny is a fish the size of an island that uses illusion to lure her victims to a watery fate. Has a mouth the size of an elven war galleon and wicked dangling lights coming out of her head. I was aboard a fishing schooner off the Isle of Rage, where we were heading to drop a haul of lota fish at the stage for splitting and flaking, when the beast came up and swallowed our vessel, the heavy Hamaris. I barely made it out of the way of the beast's mighty jaws, only to see the vile red lights glowing all over the beast's skin. As far as I know, I'm the only survivor. I don't want to ask another kindness from ye, but could ye take me back to me port? It's me home in this god-forsaken place, and I wish to return. Me map and compass will take us there. It's a magic wayfinder that can put us on the right path. And with that, Lunk heads down to the medical room and gets the poor fellow a crutch so that he can maneuver around.
Yes,
And-
as your doctor, I must inform you that your heart no longer beats, your lungs no longer work, you don't need to breathe, and your legs don't exist. So keep eating to a minimum because you don't need to do that either. And I suggest you be careful because if you go into water, you might accidentally breathe, and that could be bad and rip your stitching. Thank you.
Can Pepper do some kind of religion or arcana check on his magical stuff?
Yeah, go ahead. And also, Daniel, give me a history check.
I like the sound of a magical wayfinder because we have no idea where we are. So I've just been going around in circles, really, hoping to spot something familiar.
That is a 15?
You never heard of this in any of your travels. It must be arcane of some sort.
Oh,
While
well,
this is going on, Daharna has collected all of his biofouling organisms and the shrimps and is currently playing with them on the deck. They're my friends now.
I've heard of these magical devices that help you to navigate to places. Invented by a wizard called Mr. Gips, I think.
oh yeah, the wizard Gibbs. Everybody knows
Yes.
him.
What did you get there, Daniel?
Sorry?
I asked you to roll a history check a little earlier. Sorry.
History. Well, Daniel's not the smartest lad. I just know the pizza. That's a 6.
Congratulations, sir. The name Red Blenny rings a bell, but you're not entirely sure where or why. You can't quite put your finger on it. You remember it has something to do with a nursery rhyme from your youth, but the memories have long since faded. It must be linked to the fish, though. Something strange, flight, moonlight, sea, sailors, something about horrific scene and a fish. Yep, you got this. That's exactly what it is.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Red Blenny. It goes something like Red Blenny, Red Blenny. That's the line I remember.
Thank you, Daniel.
It's like that. It's like that, famous speech from Richard III. Now. No, that's about it. Yeah.
Well, when you said Blenny, someone in the audience put their hand up. Was that a scientific call-out?
My goodness, perhaps.
So the fellow in the white shirt, I don't know if you were just yawning or just stretching. Ah,
Okay.
you almost got a free set of dice then, dude.
Quick, make something up. You might get dice.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. We will give
Specifically
you
a
set of
common
dice
named fish called the red-lipped blenny. So come to us after the show and you can come get a set of dice.
back. Actually, midshipman Finn, come
Yeah.
and do your task. There you go. Can you?
There you go.
Can you give that?
Make the children work.
Thank you for the cheese toasties. They're very nice.
We only have unpaid interns in this show.
All right. So with that, Fred lays out his map on the table next to the helm. He places the compass on the map like it's a Ouija board and takes the coin and places it in the top of the compass's lens to make a tiny sight glass. Directing the helmsman to look into the hole, he sees a sharp red line that marks where your ship is and a heading towards his home. Based on your estimates, it's about a 6-hour sail from your current location. So you have about 6 hours to prepare yourself to get to his home. Is there anything you would like to do in that time?
As this map's magical, is it like Indiana Jones and we can see a little sort of glowing red line as we're...
I was thinking more along the lines of the Sesame Street movie where they go to find Big Bird. But yeah, same shtick.
Do we have any reason to believe that Red Blenny might follow this man? Should we be worried about that?
I did hear tell once upon a time of this tragic story. In fact, there were 4 tragic stories, each getting worse and worse and worse, where a big fish did follow someone around the world to try and consume them. But it was just a fable.
I'm rooting for the big fish. Did it eat them? I need to know.
I believe it did. I believe it
Yay.
did.
It's a happy ending then.
Well, it was, apart from Michael Caine. It ruined his career.
Anything else?
I'm preparing more pizza dough.
Yeah, just
6
take-
hours is a long time. We need, to keep everyone's spirits up.
Does that mean that you're rolling in the deep?
We're always rolling in the deep.
Pepper will make hot chocolate for everybody.
Excellent.
Also, she will put a whoopee cushion under the flesh golem in his little seat for later.
Daniel, some of the crewmen share your worry about this fish stalking you, and so they up their rotations for sentry in the hopes that something doesn't, or in the hopes things go
I was going to
well.
say, yes, and we need some extra watches, and lots of people watch. I'm not volunteering to watch myself, of course. Again, I'm going to delegate and just make sure we have a rota. I'm very good at doing rota. In fact, I'll get a whiteboard out and post-it notes and do a rota. By the time that's done, we'll be almost in port.
6 hours of project management later, Lucian has the watch schedule all figured out just in time for you to arrive at the Isle of Rage. The sail goes uneventfully, other than a few times where post-its were lost or misplaced, and things became a little bit tense in the management department. As soon as you see the dawn arrive, you see the edge of a small island, perhaps 500 meters across. Rocky, with some dense shrubbery, vegetation at its center, you see a fishing stage at the end of a small docking pier. So we have a science fact for y'all. For those of you in our audience that don't know, a stage is a small building that is usually found next to shore that was utilized by North Atlantic fishermen to drop off codfish for them to be gutted and split And split is a term that's used for when they would fillet it. They would remove the backbone down to the tail and its head and leave both fillets attached at the tail so they could fillet them out and leave them to dry and salt.
So like a kipper.
Yeah. Much like a kipper, only much larger. Salt's a pretty magic preservative, and it was used to prevent bacterial growth by making the bacteria that entered into the fish with the high salt content do something called crenate, which means that they lose the water inside their cell to the outside environment, and they kind of collapse in on themselves. And as a result, die. After that, the fish is dried until there wasn't enough water for even the toughest bacteria to survive. And this is a process of removing active water, which is known in food science. Active water being the water that bacteria can actively utilize for metabolism. The preserved fish made a great food source because it could last quite a long time. There's records of people having it stowed for up to a year after it's been dried. And during the 20th, 18th, 19th, and 20th centuries, during piracy, it was a main food staple aboard most pirating boats. Back to the adventure. So, when you arrive at the pier, you are greeted by a horrific sight. Before you, all the crew operating the stage have been gutted, split, and salted like the fish they prepared, and left on the flakes for their flesh to dry in the sun.
Well, someone's being
Aghast.
food safe, I guess?
Not so good for pizza.
Aghast, Fred says, "My gods, the stage crew, all gone. What happened here? Please, you must help me find out what's happened. We've gold in the stage if you help me, please."
Is there any chance this man has a fish in his brain?
My professional opinion is no, this man does not have a fish in his brain.
Thank you.
Can Pepper burn a use of divine sense so within, oh, and there goes the character sheet. Love it. Connect back to the Wi-Fi. That's going to help me detect any hallowed or fiends within 60 feet as soon, and I will give you the exact wording when it loads.
We ran into this one a few times. You're doing your divine sensing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know that scene in SpongeBob where a mermaid man jumps up and just starts screaming evil and running around? Well, you get that vibe from literally everything. Not just the island, but the air. Everything.
So everything here is reverse hollowed, bad juju.
Very bad juju. Oh, by the way, you should remember, I said at the beginning of this, you're in Ravenloft, so...
Right, but other than just anything specific above the baseline.
No. It's all background evil levels. If you had your evil Geiger counter out, it would just be ticking away as normal.
So this island isn't actually a big evil fish?
No.
Okay.
There's no evil plutonium here.
Yeah, remember when I tried to commune with nature in Ravenloft? It just doesn't work. It's not a good plan.
Right, so this place doesn't feel any extra evil, it just is the normal amount of evil.
Could it be a false island? I just keep thinking about Red Blenny, Red Blenny. Do you get to sense, is anybody particularly good at finding out if something's real or fake without touching it? Or should we just touch it
Would
and go
Red
for it?
Plenty count as an animal, or is it like an aberration, do you think? Or is it just a really big fish?
Well, if it's an illusion, I did go to the Ivory Lyceum and I was a dean of the College of Illusion. But that mostly meant just telling people what to do. I didn't actually really do much magic.
Do you really do much anything?
I'm very good at delegating.
Apparently the pizza's not the only thing with sauce on it.
While this is going on, can Daharna investigate around the station and see if she can see anything that might be a clue?
Yeah, sure. So in the immediate area, you can give me either a perception, investigate, or a medicine check.
Oh, it's definitely going to be perception, and that is 18 plus 7, 25.
Well, from what you can see, on the split bodies, there's no smell of carrion or offal anywhere near you. So this must have been either done recently or the guts of the people have been dragged off somewhere else. And interestingly, there's a chunk of skin missing from the bottom of the hamstring on every one of the bodies, all on the same side.
It wasn't me.
All right, we've ruled him out, but something, dare I say, fishy is going on here.
So it almost looks as if some sort of monster is actually having some sort of angling competition or something like that.
Oh, you think the anglerfish are having an angling competition?
Oh, why didn't I think of that?
I have a feeling that this is very obtuse.
I don't have it, but Lucian, could you possibly track the missing pieces of skin with the pieces of skin we have here?
What kind of CIA show do you think can track missing pieces of skin to other missing pieces of skin? I'm
Does
not a
skin
big-
count as an object? Does anyone
Yeah,
locate
can we-
object?
Can we like scry object or something? And
I'm a doctor, not a miracle worker.
Right, I should at least rule out this island's not a fish, right? So can I cast Speak with Animals on myself and just ask, hello island, are you a big evil fish? You have to tell us. Please and thank you.
It doesn't appear to work.
All right, any other animals around? Hello, I do have treats and lollies. We're looking for information on the possible angling fishing competition.
I'd like to throw some sardines in the air to try to attract any seagulls, maybe.
There's not a seagull to be found.
Honestly, that's creepier than the fact that there's flayed people here.
can I stick my head underwater and see if I see any fish?
Sure.
Can I stick her head underwater to see if she sees any fish?
Hold on to my ankles and just lower me.
I will lower you into the water.
Do I see any fish?
I'm gonna shake
So
her
you
down.
become an inverted periscope,
Yep.
and you look around, and there's no fish to be seen. There's the odd invertebrate. You think you could attempt to speak with them, but they have very simple minds. You're not going to get much more than food and, oh my goodness, what are you? Maybe run away. You've played this game before. This is not your first time to the rodeo.
Guys, there isn't anything here. All of the larger animals are gone. There's no birds, there's no fish.
Well, that seems completely normal and not ominous in any way.
Check again.
Nope, still nothing.
I'm still trying to work out how you could possibly link these pieces of flesh with the bodies. I mean, maybe these pieces of flesh have got some sort of substance within them that you could have some sort of machine that could work out what the substance was, and you can get to other bits of it, you work out what that was, and you could compare them. No, that's silly.
You mean
I
Why would
mean,
anyone do that?
it's not like you have a doctor or anyone around that might be able to help you with all of this stuff. How you could perhaps examine a body or what have you.
He's too busy playing Dunk the Druid.
Am I being delegated to use something called a centrifuge?
Later.
Perhaps a medicine check?
I will do a medicine check.
Okay, roll it.
I'm going to need some assistance on this medicine check.
I'm gonna help you with this medicine check.
Surgeon, can you help me with this medicine check?
I'm the bosun.
I'm going to say a 15 is qualification for my medical license to be revoked.
Well, you know what they say, D is for degree. All right, so with that medicine check, you do a basic examination of what's left of the cadavers, and you notice that the bodies are all very clean and well cut. The person who did this must have been a skilled butcher or surgeon. Everything is cleaned on the tables. The only thing left is meat. So most likely they were packed, the corpses were packed here from somewhere else.
So are they dead?
In my professional medical opinion, no.
Can we use Salt as a sniffer dog to see if we can't try to see where they took the rest of the offal from the butchered people?
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I figure What are salt's bonuses? Okay. Ooh, that's a natural 20 from salt.
Oh, that natural 20 is brought to you by Kraken Dice. Kraken Dice, let's get Kraken, official sponsor of the Dugongs and SeaDragons podcast. All right, so after a short period of sniffing around, on the far side of the island in a tide pool, you find the offal of the victims. With a quick medical assessment, Lunk manages to figure out that somehow these are much more decayed than the bodies. A quick knowledge nature might help you out here. I don't ever look at the druid because she doesn't have that.
Yes, let's ask the druid to do knowledge nature, because we know how well that works.
I have a -1 to intelligence. Much more street smarts or not street smarts. It's fine.
Remy, you look like you're ready to say something.
I was, but the -1 to intelligence really took the wind out of my sails.
Anyone else want to take a crack at it?
Remy,
I'll give it
you're
a
my
try.
student. You should know what a -1 to intelligence is like.
I have no comment. That was good.
Pepper just waded in helpfully and rolled a natural 1 for that knowledge nature. So does that help?
And
That's
me
guts.
too.
You found it.
Double natural ones.
1 in 400 chance for all our stats nerds out there.
4.
Ah,
6.
9. Single digit squad, single digit squad.
So
is that on the die?
we literally have 5 biologists, and the highest nature roll was a 9.
We aren't playing biologists, clearly.
If we add all of these numbers together, we might get an 18.
Okay, concerted effort, everybody. I know none of us know this, but maybe we put all of our heads together. Who has the highest nature bonus?
I'm going to take the head of one person on the ground and be like, yes, let's put all of our heads together.
Oh, I actually have a +3, so that's a 4. If that
I was-
I rolled again and still got the same number.
Okay. Check
Can
your
salt
sheet.
give me advantage? Can I?
Remy, check your sheet because I'm pretty sure one of your proficiencies is nature because he's
It
also a
is nature.
natural. And I believe you're kind of smart, not dumb. I made the character and everything.
Please explain this to his dice.
I don't know, but an 8 plus a 6 is still 14.
Oh, if
Good
only
enough.
we had another character nearby who could save us, Midshipman Finn. Quick, roll a dice.
Here, I'll throw it at you.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on, midshipman, come on up and roll the dice because these goofballs can't figure it
We
out.
know that you were smarter than Dahana, so.
That's a 19.
There you go.
We're saved!
Midshipman Finn was there, and Midshipman Finn's like, "You're all wrong. This is what it is." So, fun fact: this is probably actually quite likely. And the reason why is because most scavenging amphipods, isopods, and bucksinid snails are very heavily attracted to the nutrient-rich organ flesh that's found in fishes and other humans. They eat it extremely fast. As a matter of fact, in a specific species, Luribuccinum dirum, which is also known as the dire whelk, which needs to go into an actual D&D book because that's its actual name.
It's literally a dire
It is a dire whelk.
If only we knew someone here who wrote books about D&D monsters.
Okay, it's going on the list, everyone. I get it.
It's actually a species of scavenging snail that I did a study on and published in the Journal of Experimental Marine Biology and Ecology. And they prefer the nutrient-rich flesh of digestive organs and other organs so much compared to any other type of tissue that they will specifically dig into animals just to get at it and leave the muscles alone. They only take other flesh if it's absolutely the only food they got.
You had me sold at arthropod that prefers organ flesh.
Yeah, that is metal AF.
What can I say? That's how I like to roll. Actually, I tuck my chin down, crouch, and then fall forward. That's how I like to roll. All right. So even though there's all these organs that look fairly heavily digested and eaten, there's no sign of the tags of flesh. So at this point, you've explored most of the island, you have found the guts, you've seen everything around the area, but you haven't looked inside the fishing stage. So is that what you'd like to do now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, just a quick one, by the way. Because of his crutch, he's been mostly hanging out at the stage waiting for you, Fred Aldrich, just so you know. He stayed behind. All right, so you get to the stage and you go inside. Fred follows you in. The stage is well maintained and has all the necessary supplies for an active fish processing operation, including crates of salt, spare flakes, flakes being these large woven wooden mats that they would use to dry the split fish on, a stock of fillet knives, and a water pump with a series of salting pans. So when fish is flaked and salted, they split it, they fillet it out so that the meat is facing upwards, and then they place salt over the tops of them, and then lay another split in, salt it, another and another and another, and they just stack them up into these fish pans, which is just a big tub. And then from there, they're left to sit until the flesh is firm. It usually takes about 24 to 36 hours. And from there, it's rinsed clean and laid on a flake to dry. The drying process takes anywhere between 5 days and 3 weeks, depending on the humidity outside. Okay. Everything appears to be immaculately in perfect order, except for one fish salting pan, which appears to have a very large red stain coming from within the salt.
So who's going to check out that red stain? Because it's not going to be Daniel.
Not me. I delegate.
Salt, like a sniffer dog, it does a little point.
Great, someone's pointing at it.
Okay, I'll check out the blood.
Lunk, upon digging through the salt, you find the chunks of skin from the crew members. The flesh has been cured and the skin tanned into something like a leather. The skin is branded with an odd symbol, about the size of a coin, with a hole in the middle, and a compass rose sketched onto it. Daniel, it is then that a memory from your childhood comes flashing back. You remember the children of your port town chanting the nursery rhyme. Strange things are aflight in the full moonlight by the sailors who toil at sea. The trade wind routes have their scuttlebouts that will make your blood freeze. The wayfarer star has seen near and far, but the most horrific it ever did see was the night inside the stage at the Isle of Rage, where hid the salt box of red blenny. You realize that red blenny was no anglerfish, but a noted serial killer that tortured, murdered, and preserved his victims to eat. That's when you feel a searing pain on the back of your left leg as a heated branding iron burns through your trousers and sears the flesh of your hamstring. On your shoulder, you see the hand of old Fred. You turn and see that the skin on his face has pulled back off from where the scar was on his head, and his amputated foot is now a peg leg made of twisted bone. He looks at you with lidless eyes and a curved smile filled with sharpened teeth, and you hear him say, "I see you figured me out, folks. Now's the part where things get fun. Let me know if you experience any unpleasantness. I would hate to miss it."
Oi, we helped you. That's very rude.
Help, I've been burned.
All right, folks, we're in a fight. I've already dealt with all the initiatives in advance, thanks to the fact that I created the characters or knew them. So we are in the order of Red Blenny, Lucian, Lunk, Finn, Daniel, and then Pepper and Salt. All right, so Blenny comes forward. He drives his hot poker into your spine, and I need a set of dice. We talked about this. I forgot my dice. Sorry. Ooh. Cheers.
Red Blenny, sponsored by Kraken Dice. You too can flay your players with Kraken Dice.
And somehow you manage to dodge out of the way as he tries to backstab you. The burn on your hamstring has made it so that you cannot move more than half speed. Everything is considered difficult terrain. All right, so Lucian, you're up.
Oh, okay. I am going to use one of our custom spells called Curse of Wheaton, which means that if it's successful, you automatically get natural ones
For 2 rounds, right?
for 2 rounds.
Exciting.
If it's actually cast on Will Wheaton, it causes a collapse of the whole world as we know it.
That makes sense.
Okay, so, yep, I cast the spell, and
Okay.
that is a DC of... Oops.
This is the bit that we normally cut out the
Charisma
podcast.
16, please.
Okay, I was going to say, the monster got an 18 on the die, so
Curse
unfortunately...
you, Will Wheaton!
One day we're going to get in trouble for that.
He's here.
I know. Is he like, Slender Man? You say his name in the mirror 3 times and he appears?
Will Wheaton, Will Wheaton.
No, we're not that
He's
lucky.
still downstairs, we're safe.
Whew. Okay, so Lunk, you're up.
I see a crew member in need, so I will cast Lesser Restoration on the pizza man here.
Okay.
Attempt to restore his movement.
Osh, you're no longer considered difficult terrain. Your leg is back to normal, Daniel.
I am no longer burned.
Okay. Daniel, you're up.
I will turn and look at Red Blenny, and I say, but I gave you pizza. And then I flourish my longsword, and I'm going to make 2 attacks, because I'm a fighter. Wow, give me my PhD. I can do basic math. That's a 15 on the first hit.
Not quite good enough, sorry.
Okay, so I miss on the first one, and then I make my second attack, which is another 15. So I'm just swiping, and he's just avoiding me, you know?
He deftly buckles your swash. Unfortunately, you didn't get to swash your buckle.
And then, seeing that I have been unable to hit him, I am going to back off and shout, a little help over here, please.
Okay. Pepper and Salt, you're up.
Okay, so Pepper and Salt are going to say, "Oh, right, on my way." And Pepper's going to mount Salt and charge with her spear. Make 2 attacks. One of those is going to hit at least. So that's going to be a 24 to hit for the first one. And the second one is going to be a 12.
Like 12 plus 12, or did
No,
you just
just
say
12.
the number twice?
Does that hit?
Okay. So one of them does hit.
Okay, so she's going to throw a Divine Smite on the one that hit, because she's a paladin of trickery. So that's going to be math. 6 normal damage plus her Divine Smite damage, which I will give to you in a minute.
If you listen to the show, you'll realize that you don't need to have any math skills at all to be a marine biologist.
This is
Some
true.
math skills, but you don't have to add on. They don't make you add on Q. That's not a thing that they do.
Calculators were invented a long time ago. We can still use abacus.
Ooh, max damage with the Divine Smite, so another 8 of radiant damage.
So how much total?
8 plus 6, which is 14. Thank you.
There we go. We can add. Just as a side note, there is a direct correlation between the level of math one has to do for their job and their ability to add. It's inversely correlated. I can't count to save my soul, but if you ask me to do mathematical modeling, I got it figured out.
Yeah, I can do some crazy good statistics, but it's on cue thing.
Try to tip? No. Here's $10. I'm done. Okay. All right. So comes back around to Red Blenny, and he takes another step.
Need to go?
Oh, sorry. I goofed. Daharna, you should be here between Lunk and Daniel. My apologies. So go ahead. Daharna, attack.
That's okay. Daharna's just going to turn into a giant crab.
Okay.
I'm sorry, a giant what?
Giant crab.
Okay, good.
The thing with the claws.
I thought you said a giant ma'am, and I was like, what does that mean? I haven't been listening to season
It's
2.
still a female crab. You can identify from their tummies. The girls have big round plates on their tummies for holding the eggs, whereas the males don't need that. So if you
Is it a Telson?
No, it's a reduced sized abdomen piece, and females the way I learned it is females
The
have a
genital
beehive.
operculum.
Yeah, it's females have a beehive and males have a lighthouse. So
yeah, it's for holding all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
eggs.
all right, so you turn into a giant crab. Done. Okay, so moving back around to Blenny. Blenny takes another stab at you because you're in melee combat. And does an 18 hit you?
18 does not hit Pepper, no.
No, I wasn't talking about Pepper.
Oh.
Sorry, I was talking
I think
about
I'm the
Daniel.
only one in melee with him, right? Because he ran back.
Oh, no, he did go back. You're right. I'm being a dunce. Okay. Yes.
Saw the little dance and dodges.
Good. There you go. Hooray, things happened. Also, if you've ever watched the podcast, you'll know that none of this stuff actually shows up because I edit everything down to something that's digestible in 20 minutes. Okay. Okay, here we go. So that's Lucian.
Okay, I am going to use my Warlock ability and Hexblade's Cursing. And then I pull out my trusty weapon, which is called Black Frazier, and I run in and give him 2 hefty blows. So that is... you really should have good internet if you want to use D&D Beyond. 23
Hits.
in a 12.
No, it's not going to hit.
Okay. So that will be 10 points damage.
Ooh, excellent. All right. Lucian has deftly swashled its buckle. Lunk, what are you doing?
I hate having to destroy my own creations, but they have a tendency to turn into serial killers. I'm going to attempt to run at this child of mine and use slam.
Okay.
Oh my god. I am going to keyword attempt to use slam, but I got a 1, so the only thing I slam is myself for making this monster.
And after all that, Lunk discovered that it was not the monster that was the monster, but it was him that was the monster.
Was the monster the friends we made along the way?
Yeah, it's true. Okay, Daharna, you're up.
All right, I am going to scuttle forward and try and body block as much as I can between this guy and my friends. And it says I have 2 claws. Does that mean I get to attack with both?
Correct.
Excellent. I'm going to try and chop him in half with my pincers. However, I managed to roll a 1 and a 6.
That's 7. Quick math.
I mean, it's +3 to hit. I still don't think a 9.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. But I am very impressive and blocking everyone else. So.
Just for reference, because I'm tired of saying no, the number to hit is 16. Just one more, okay? Yeah. All right.
We can get there. I believe in us.
Yeah. Okay, so after Daharna, it is Daniel.
I leap onto, well, Daharna, is it okay if I leap onto your crab back? Okay, thank you, Daharna. We previously had this conversation. Consent has been established. I leap onto Daharna's back, and I'm going to flourish my blade and try to do better than last time. Everyone pray with me. Thank you for praying with me. That is a 24 on the first hit.
That hits.
All right, excellent. And so the first hit is going to be 14 points of slashing damage.
Ooh.
And then I'm going to make a second hit. You know, being on top of a crab really gives you a good vantage point for this whole situation. I think that's the moral of the story here because the second one is a 22.
Crab bonuses.
You have the high
Crab
ground.
bonuses. Both hit.
And the second one is 15 points of damage because I slash. That's what I do.
Ah. Indeed, you buckle his swash. You stab him through the parts. They're pretty known. It's not
How
parts
is-
unknown.
How's Red Blenny looking?
He's not too happy. No.
Okay, then I'm going to action surge.
Okay.
I'm going to make 2 more attacks.
Cool.
That's a 18.
Yeah, that hits.
And then the last one's a natural 1. So I think my foot gets caught on a barnacle and on Daharna's back and I topple over.
yeah.
But before I topple, I do get him. So that is an additional 12 points of damage, yeah. Sorry, I had like a moment. And
You were so wide-eyed looking at your dice, it's like, did it have a 25 on the dice somehow? A magic number I enscrawled on it? I don't know. Okay, so there you go. Yeah. So after that, you see that Red Blenny is extremely wounded. And it looks like he's decided that something needs to be done about this. And he uses a surge of action or a reaction and throws a smoke bomb down, and the room fills with smoke, and he disappears.
Do we get a reaction? Can I try to take an attack of opportunity if he's leaving?
Sure, go ahead.
At disadvantage, I assume, because of smoke.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was a natural 20 in there, but I don't think, well, it's exactly a 16. Meets beats.
Yeah. We play that game. Meat does beat.
8 damage.
There you go. So you slash at them. It doesn't seem to do anything. The smoke quickly fades, and they are gone. However, around you, you see that some of the fish pans and some of the boxes in the room have been jostled. So, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna scuttle after him.
Okay. Which way you scuttling?
I'm scuttling in the direction that those knocked over things are.
Okay. All right. Well, every day we be scuttling, and we're scuttling to the boxes.
Can Salt also do the sniffer dog thing again and make sure to follow?
Follow your dreams.
That's a 22.
You get a scent of something coming from within the boxes that are all ajarred.
Sniffer dog point.
Crab smash.
Crab smash. Okay, so you do some smashing, and amongst your smashing, you find an open trap door under a box that was filled with gold. So now there's coins everywhere.
I am immediately distracted by all the shiny objects.
So there was a seagull on this island.
Or at least a magpie. Daharna is completely uninterested in money. She has very little concept of that and is just going straight through that trap door.
Okay, so what's everyone else doing? You gonna follow?
Follow.
the crab.
Certainly.
There's got to be a joke in there about some sort of game called Follow the Crab. We should make that in our series now. I like that. Okay. You enter the trap door that Red Blenny escaped through, and you see that there is a trail of blood going down an odd path. You see a set of stalactites and stalagmites at the opening of the path. As you keep going inward, the air becomes humid and smells of fresh herbs. After some time, you come to a large opening with a pool that contains clear water and smells faintly of fish and chips.
Did you say fish and chips?
Indeed.
Okay, good.
I'm really hungry now.
It's almost lunchtime. We pursue?
Okay, so you begin to explore around the area of the pool. Give me an investigation check.
Daniel will help somebody out by giving them pizza, so if somebody wants to take advantage, that
Yeah,
would be
take advantage
tremendous.
by getting on top of the crab because I don't think a +0 is going to help very much.
I've got a +7. Is someone going to help me? Okay. Yeah. 11.
I rolled a 15, but I don't have any bonuses.
Did you have advantage?
I rolled a 15. I don't have any bonuses.
I rolled a 7 with bonuses.
Your dice just don't like you today.
Do we have midshipman Finn with us?
You do.
Midshipman Finn!
Finn, save us.
As an 11 plus his bonus was.
You
got
have
a good
failed
bonus.
us, Finn.
Oh dear.
Should we all put our heads together again?
Well, I mean, 1 5. 15's not bad. Do we get anything
Okay,
on 15?
okay. You were all sort of bumbling about. I didn't hear the number 15 in there until you just hollered it out, Francis, so we're good. Okay, so you begin searching around the room to try and figure out what's going on. And when you begin to interact, you realize with a sickly squidging noise, the tunnel you came from has sealed behind you. Too late, you realize that none of this was real, just an illusion from an immense beast. And Red Blenny is nowhere to be found.
Oi, I asked you, Red Blenny, if you were a fish, and you said you didn't say anything.
I think he had a fish inside him all along.
It's not the fish you find, the fish that are beside you.
Is there any sign of where, okay, Red Blenny, the lad, was an illusion, correct?
Indeed.
No. Something, I'm sorry, I'm confused. We've searched this area and Red Blenny's gone.
He is.
Okay.
And now the area is no longer the faintly wafting fish and chip smelling pool. Stone becomes flesh and bone, and the stalagmites and stalactites that you pass through must have been pharyngeal jaws. The smell of herbs, fish, and chips have changed to putrid fish, carrion, acid, and bile. Taking it all in, you see the cavern and pool for what it really is, a giant stomach. And you have been fooled into becoming its next meal.
So Red Blenny, the pirate, was the lure. Of
He
this
was the
giant
lure.
anglerfish.
We have been duped.
I knew we should have just gone for the gold.
So do we, it's really fleshy in here. Maybe we could just cut out.
Wait, anyone know how to induce vomiting in a big fish? Sort of anyone got any...
Maybe-
all my stuff tastes really nice, so I don't think anything I got in my bag's going to help it sort of...
What if we all
Go
jump a
the
bunch
other
like it's a
ways.
moon bounce?
Does anyone have lots of castor oil?
Oh no. Right, can I, in above game, in my normal voice, cast... Is this a shapeshifter? Could I maybe cast... I've got moonbeam. Would that help us?
I think Midshipman Finn's gonna help us.
Oh, Midshipman Finn's gonna help us?
We need
Oh
to
no, Midshipman Finn, are you okay?
be freed from this flesh prison.
That's what I say every morning when I wake up.
Right, so I'm gonna cast, I don't know if this is gonna work, I'm gonna give it a try. I would like to do some kind of knowledge check to see where is the bit, if I can just induce a gag reflex in this mouth room, stomach room that we're in. And I'm going to aim a moonbeam, which is a spell that does a silvery beam of pale light. It's a 5-foot radius cylinder, 40 foot high. We get some light from it. Also, it causes searing pain from the radiant damage. And this is worse if the creature is a shape shifter. It makes its saving throw at disadvantage. And it didn't look like a, there was some shape shifting. It didn't look, it was a room before, and now it's a stomach.
Follow your dreams, figure it out.
Oh, so that's a saving throw from you.
Okay, it fails. Or, sorry, you fail. It succeeds.
Well, it takes some damage anyway, because I'm salty.
Okay. Stone. Oh, sorry. I'm okay. Sorry. Find my spot. There we go. The stomach begins to churn and twist as you are splashed with acid and bludgeoned with bits of bone. You feel immense pain as you are slowly crushed and burned. The first to die is Salt and Pepper,
Oi!
which is fitting considering the fish and chips smells. Daniel is next to go. Falling into the pool, his screams are silenced by the choking of acid. Then Lunk, who tries to save himself by grasping at Lucian's leg. Nope, sorry, I'm going to do that again. Then Lunk, who tries to save themselves by grasping at Lucian's leg as they fall into the pool. All that is left of poor Lunk is a twitching arm that is firmly grasping Lucian's ankle. Finn and Lucian manage to get a purchase on a large pile of fish that is out of the acid. Burned and maimed, with all hope lost, you hear Finn say,
"It's all right, sir. You just need a cheese toastie and some tomato soup."
what do you got, boss?
So it's Finn literally standing there offering me a cheese toastie and some soup.
Yes, you see Finn is now carrying a tray with a nice set of cheese toasties and a big bowl of tomato soup. The smells fill your senses, and you are feeling at peace. However, the moment is fleeting. The burning overwhelms you, and everything fades to darkness. Lucian, you awake at the side of your bed in the captain's quarters on the Calypso. Midshipman Finn is gently tapping you on the shoulder, and he's saying,
"It's all right, sir. You just need a cheese toastie and some tomato soup."
Oh my goodness, remind me never to eat blue cheese last thing at night. I had the strangest dream.
Like, pinch myself to see if I am awake.
Your steward Patrick, comes in and sees that you're awake. And he says, "Oh, good morning, sir. We are glad to see sir is back in the land of the living. Sir had some bad cheese, I'm afraid, spoiled with some sort of hallucinogenic mold. When you were on your watch, Carl found you blathering incoherently on a bunch of sacks out on the deck, wearing nothing but your quadricorn hat and a revealing pair of underpants. Sir then attempted to assault Carl, believing him to be a walrus that was armed and dangerous. The porter had to subdue you, sir, for sir's own safety, and sir has been in bed for over a week now."
Oh, dear. Oh. Well, that was a relief. For a moment, I thought I'd ruined my favorite dressing gown by being dissolved by a giant fish. Give me one of those sandwiches, please.
And with that, dear listeners, we thank you for coming out to our Dugongs and Seadragons horror adventure special.
Did we just get Inceptioned?
That's the most marine science rocks fall, everyone dies I've ever witnessed. You get swallowed by a giant fish and melt.
All right, so thanks for listening to our adventure. We have about 20-ish minutes. I believe we're done at 3:15. So we are up here now for the rest of it to talk about Dugongs and Seadragons and anything that you would like to know about us as marine scientists and podcasting. Otherwise, if you want to bounce, please feel free to bounce.
Can we get a big round of applause for Midshipman Finn?
Yeah. Also, it looks like our fellow that had won the fish dice has disappeared. You can't collect if you don't give us some identity. But there were a few other things. Oh, did you? Yeah. Oh, that's why he bounced. You're supposed to not give them to him until the end so he sticks around. We had a few other Easter eggs in there. If anyone notices anything, please feel free to raise their hand and let us know. We're happy to talk. You, sir. Actually, you know what? Yes, it was. The poem was based on the poem, The Cremation of Sam McGee. So thank you. It wasn't a biology one, but that was an Easter egg. Thanks so much for actually paying attention to that.
Come get some dice.
Come grab yourself a set of dice.
Come hither, fair traveler, for your dice.
I think there was 2 or 3 other ones in there. Anyone else want to grab a guess? Any ideas?
Well, if we have Ocean Jeopardy tonight, so I think I'm going to keep some of these back for prizes for that.
No, there you go. So tonight, Chris is going to be hosting an Ocean Jeopardy party here at Awesome Con, so you can come out and he will use those dice as prizes. So at this point, we'd like to thank you all for coming out. If you got any questions, please feel free to stick around. We'll be at the front of the table talking. Yes.
It is generic so that I can do whatever I want in fantasy with it, but we have some lovely art. So it is a mostly looking sea otter,
Yeah.
but I haven't picked a species so that I don't have to specify.
Giant, maybe Pacific or something.
A giant, large
Yeah.
enough that it is her mount, so she can, or a little gnome can ride it around as a mount, which is very fun.
I always imagine salt to be like an American river otter. Or perhaps a Scottish, because Scottish otters are marine.
Yeah, so I was picturing something like a Scottish otter, which looks less like a North American, like a Pacific sea otter, and more like a river otter in terms of looks.
And of course they have a Scottish accent. So now Salt will have to have a Scottish
No,
accent.
I
They
can't.
do love Earl Grey too, so you got to get on this.
You absolutely, look, I am proud to participate in the proud tradition of Americans doing bad British accents while playing D&D, as you just sort of witnessed whatever Pepper's accent is. But I don't know that I want to roll the dice on Scottish. That might be bad to listen to.
Just start drinking, you'll get it.
I could do the accent for Salt. We have a question right up here in the center.
Like a pony-sized otter. So giant compared to otters, and also giant compared to Pepper, who is a gnome.
Because there is a giant Amazonian river otter, but they're not actually that giant.
Right.
You couldn't
Yes.
ride one.
If I recall, in terms of D&D statistics, I believe he is large-sized, because that way medium creatures can ride him.
Indeed, and in fact, if you want Salt's stat blocks, you can check out Scientific Secrets of Salt Marsh, because I contributed to the book that Zeke edited. So we got a whole stat block in there for you if you want Salt's numbers.
Okay, we have a question from the fellow at the front.
So, daddy longlegs are like round, right? Everybody's seen one. And on the bottom of their body, they have what I call a trap door. Much like we were talking about crabs, how they have different shapes, whether it's male or female. The genital operculum of daddy longlegs open, and in males, they have a fluid-based sort of inflation system that will cause their, can I say penis?
It's the technical biological term.
And their sclerized penis, it's pushed out that way, and then females have a similar sort of, I guess, receiving trapdoor. But in the species that I used to study, what I was studying is the muscles of the trapdoor in the female were actually strong enough such that if she finished eating her nuptial gift, which was like a prey item that the male would present to the female to be like, hey, look, I'm a good quality male, like, let's reproduce. Then if she finishes it quickly, or if it's not high enough quality, she'll actually snap off his penis with her trapdoor and then drink his blood, hemolymph, through the remains of the penis like a straw. So I was taking videos of that behavior for the first portion of my PhD. As you can imagine, it's great cocktail hour conversation.
So to answer your question, freaky.
So yes, tell your teacher at school, kids.
Science is metal.
Animals
David
get
Attenborough,
freaky.
contact me.
Any other questions from the panel? Well, hearing silence, thanks so much for coming out. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Catch us on Dugongs and Seadragons on anywhere you get your podcasts for more fun science facts on marine science and marine conservation. We've been recording for 3 years now. We just hit episode 200 about a month ago. So please feel free to listen in and get some more facts and have some fun.